Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the Retail Week where we will be looking at the consumer in 2019 and delving into how they will feel, shop and the trends that will dictate their behaviour in the year to come. I'm Grace Boden, reporter for Retail Week, and today I am joined by features editor Gemma Goldfingal and not one but two very special guests. We have Hilary Ross, Head of Retail Food and Law at Retail Food and Hospitality at
don't get that.
DWF. And then we have Will Trump, who is a consumer behaviour consultant at iptiQ. So this week we've been running a series of features and research into the consumer 2019. Maybe to kick off, Gemma, why don't you tell us a little bit about how shoppers are feeling looking into 2019 and whether the year's going to bring any respite after quite a punishing year for retail this year?
Yes, well, do you know what? You say quite punishing, and it has been. There's some awful news stories, as we well know. But in terms of confidence, it's strangely held up over the year. However, and I'm going to quote GfK's Joe Stanton, who says the confidence dam could be about to burst as we enter 2019. And I guess I'm going to have to mention the B word as Brexit becomes a reality. So some big headline stats. So in terms of the political situation, 51% of people said they felt less confident and only 11% of people said they felt more confident. And the general economic situation, 48% of people said they felt less confident, compared to 14% of consumers who feel more confident. So it's not sounding particularly great from on the headline figures alone. But you've got an interesting view, Will, haven't you, about consumer confidence?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to listen to what customers are telling us.
Yeah.
I was interested to look back at what was said about a year ago on this, and similarly, I think 57% of people then said that they were less confident about the year ahead. And yet, as you've just said, people actually have been remarkably resilient and confident over this past year. So it's easy to look forward and think about things that would smash confidence, and they may well do, but it's also worth thinking about customers ignore a lot of what's going on that many of us focus on, and they think about the money in their pocket, they think about their pay, and they think about the things they want to buy, that they enjoy buying, things with their friends, etc. And also we have to be aware that people kind of repeatedly defy the gloom that we tend to assume they will follow. Now, obviously Brexit will become a reality, it seems, this year. And the year ahead.
We'll see.
I think I would focus less on just what people are telling you about in their reported behaviour in the coming months, because we know that people really struggle to predict what they'll do. I was looking through the figures in detail, and one of the main areas that you say that people say they'll reduce their spending is around discretionary spend, but that seems to be a common feature in the previous years as well. So it seems to be that actually people struggle to imagine spending more in pubs, restaurants and the rest of it. That doesn't mean they necessarily will or won't. So actually it's just worth thinking. People struggle to make predictions about their future behaviour. It's a bit like the New Year's resolution. We always think we'll do something and we end up never getting around to it. I would focus more on the underlying forces of what's actually going on. These things you cannot deny, like the move progressively from physical stores to online experiences and online purchases. But there are some things that cannot be done online that need to be done face-to-face in stores that people enjoy, like experiences like face-to-face advice, like going for a coffee. You cannot do that online. So it's just worth thinking about the human behaviour behind some of these things as well.
Yeah.
One of the changes that we've sort of seen over the last year particularly has been a change in attitude from consumers around sort of spending with ethical motivations. Is it aware? I mean, obviously we've heard so much about single-use plastic and things like Iceland's really successful Christmas advert around palm oil this year. But is the awareness actually leading to people changing their shopping patterns? And do we think that's going to be if that is a trend, is it going to be one that's going to continue into 2019? Do we think?
Well, it's interesting. There's a tension, so the consumers have told us that top of their buying agenda is price. So that's what will be the big driver when they go out to the shops to buy things or online. But yet, what we can see globally is this push to change their habits. So 29% of the consumers in the UK are saying they're going to buy ethically, and that actually jumps to 82% in China. So there is a bit of a tension there between pricing and the whole piece around ethical. And it might get back to your point, Will, that they have good intentions, but actually when it comes to spending the money, they're going to be looking at the price.
Yeah, I mean, I think ethics, sustainability, I mean, it depends, I think, is the answer. I think we always assume that we want to be sustainable, eco-friendly, charitable, kind, all those things, but when it comes to it, as you said, maybe actually price wins. We actually did an interesting study recently where we wanted customers to fill in a form, and for the time and the hassle, we would send them £50 as a voucher to say thank you. But we also said to people, if you'd like to, we can give that £50 to a charity like Age UK, I think it was, And we assumed that 20 to 50% of people would say, yeah, of course, it's £50 I wasn't expecting to get, so please give it to a good cause. 4% of people chose to give it to the charity.
We are,
Sod the odds.
we are terrible, terrible people.
I didn't expect that to be the end of the story.
So it shows how when push comes to shove, sometimes in those scenarios, context matters. You're looking at it and you're going, oh, do I want this or do I want to give it away? And similarly with ethical decisions around products, context matters. And I think what's been so successful about the single-use plastic is that it's focused it in on one issue that people can get their head around. They can see the effect of what their behaviour does. They can actually see those poor animals suffering from the stirrers and all the rest of the straws. And so they think, if I don't do that, this will be the outcome. Whereas so many of the other challenges around global warming have been so hard for us to get our head around. Reduce your carbon footprint is quite hard to go and do tomorrow morning. So actually, as long as it's achievable, salient, and crucially, I think social as well. We all like to show off our reusable coffee cups now. We like to walk down the street with our reusable bag. It's something actually that's become social. So when we're thinking about what would be the next one of these trends, actually, if it's something that people can achieve, that it's salient, and that they can show off to others, but also to themselves, I think that will make it much more likely to succeed.
So what I think was interesting, actually, to your point, that you've got these contrasting trends of, we care about price, but also we care about the environment. If we look at one of the retailers that have really taken a lead in really being known for this, we're going to make it easy for you to, because we're not going to put any plastics on our own brand products. It's Iceland, which is known as, a low-cost retailer. How can you marry the two?
Also M&S have been doing it for years as well. They just haven't been as good at communicating or getting that out there. And I think, you can see that you can have essentials, you can have products at a proper cost base. So it can be married. And I think the challenge for Iceland is trying to move up the chain to, those middle class shoppers, to attract them and say, look, actually not only is our food good, but we're doing something ethically right as well.
I think there's this behavioural phenomenon called moral licensing, which is where if you do something really good 1 minute, you feel like you've earned yourself the right to do something really naughty the next. Like you've been to the gym, so
you're going to have some cake.
Right, you've earned yourself a burger or a big piece of cake. Which doesn't really make sense, because surely if you're engaging in a good behaviour one day, you should carry on with that good behaviour. Right. I'm exactly the same, by the way. And I wonder if the same applies with some of these higher the ticket item that you're buying. I wonder the more it might become even more attractive to think, well, I'm actually doing something good here. I've bought a really expensive TV or whatever it might be, but I've also helped someone in another part of the world who really needed it, or I bought a product that's much more sustainable. So I wonder.
How do you justify it?
I wonder if we want to justify it to ourselves by saying, well, I know that's a bit naughty what I just bought, but I feel good about it because I did it this way. That brings me to this real question about Iceland, because they're really trying to win the price war. Can they also afford? And will customers going to buy into this idea that actually they're also trying to cut out things which may lead to prices rising?
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? I think, sorry, I have like 10 other things I want to talk about, but we should probably draw it to a close there, because, otherwise we'll be here for hours, won't we? Thank you so much for all your thoughts, guys. We really have only just skimmed the surface of all the research and analysis that we have done this week, so if you want to have a bit more of a deep dive into how the consumer is acting and feeling for the year ahead, do check out our website to find out more. Looking ahead to next week, we have interim updates from Sports Direct, Dixon's Carphone and Superdry, so do check back in with us to look into all of those. Thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.